Okay, so let's talk about some of the other factors that go into creating a slide-based structure, presentation, and so forth. Um, Two of the major pieces that go into this, obviously, are the text and the images and the appropriate use of both of them. So what I want to do is I just want to kind of run through some of the strategies and best practices and things that I use when I'm going through my slide decks and creating a multimedia presentation. Um, so one of the things we want to do is we want to make sure that we have appropriate use of both the text and the images. We want both of them to be limited. We want both of them to be efficient. We want both of them to be adding value to whatever it is that we're doing. All right. So here we are in our presentation here, and what I like to do is I like to break down the slide into I think it's 4 parts. And the first part is up here is the title. That's one of the first things that the student's going to look at. So we want to make sure that that is thoughtfully chosen and written so that it's short, it's concise, but it gets the message across as to what's happening on this slide or on this series of slides. And what you'll notice here is this is one slide, but it has a number of different layers on it, and you're probably all familiar with this. Each of these is a separate topic within the team structures type of category. And so it's nicely organized. And of course, when we talked about the consistency earlier, we want this to be predictable, we want it to be consistent, and we want it to be thoughtfully organized so that the user interface is as simple as it possibly can. So whenever I get a PowerPoint slide or a Word document from an instructor, and it's broken down into those, and it's going to be broken down into slides, I like to take that 3 or 4 paragraphs and make a title, but then also break it up in 3 different ways. And that is, I like to create what I call a lead-in text, which is right here. And that is that it's an introductory statement, and it's usually 1 or 2 sentences, but it really helps the student to get very well oriented as to where they are in the slide and knowing what's going to be happening as they read on. The second piece here is what I call the main the main text of the slide, and that is basically the main concept that the slide is dealing with. And so that's the main piece right here. And so in this particular case, we're talking about team structures, we're talking about the task assignment approach. This is describing what it is, and that's a good thing. Of course, one thing that I think is vitally important whenever you're talking about communicating through a slide-based structure, and whenever you're communicating content, is you need to have adequate examples. You need to be able to provide them with something that they can hang their hat on, that they're going to be able to recognize. So here we have the team structure, and this is a task assignment approach, but we have an example of what that looks like. Right? The team is designed in an automobile, individual assemblies. Right? It's a team that has that type of structure to it. All right. If I go to this particular example, I'm going to see this is a the biology research team. It's a specialty team. That's a little bit different. I'm going to read in here. I'm going to read the example, and I'm going to be able to get my understanding of that. Same thing with this here, with the nanotechnology team. All right. It's a group of professors. Each has equal responsibility in creating this nanotechnology. If I'm looking over here, this is the surgical team structure that has the team assembled with a leader that is a highly skilled and very well respected specialist, kind of liking itself to a surgical team. Now, one of the things when I'm thinking about use of images, and that is it good to use an image? Well, the test that you can probably put on yourself is asking yourself the question: does it add value to the slide? Does it create a better sense of what the concept is, and does it clarify the content, or doesn't it? Is it just a pretty picture? Sometimes that's possible, and sometimes that works if it gets the attention of the user. But we don't want to have a useless picture. We don't have one that's in there that's not serving any purposes. When I'm thinking about the use of images, I'm usually thinking about whether this image is enhancing the reading on the slide as well. I'm a a recovering, as I say, elementary school teacher, and when I say that, I loved my years as an elementary school teacher, by the way. But what I'm thinking is, from what I know about teaching reading, students get context from the image, and if that's going to draw their eyes when they first interact with the slide, we're hoping that that's going to be something that's going to enhance their comprehension of what's on there. So there's another question you can be asking yourself. Is this slide relevant enough that it's helping with the comprehension of understanding the slide and comprehending information? So those are good rules of thumb when thinking about reading, placement of text, and communicating through images.